chanting, if we make a mistake and you think, I made a mistake, then you can see that that's just your ego trying to bubble into things.
Okay.
Even something as simple as where did the universe come from? The Buddhist answer that I have been taught is that the universe has existed and will always exist in a great expanse of time that extends infinitely in the future, infinitely in the past. That's one way of looking at it. But the idea of a single creation instance is foreign to Buddhism, because really paticca-samuppada, interdependent co-arising, occurs in every moment. But that is creation in every moment.
Ya, Buddha sendiri mengajarkan ya bahwa kita ini sudah eksis di masa lalu, masa depan yang infinite, bahwa alam semesta ini begitu luas, sehingga konsep tentang adanya penciptaan yang langsung itu nggak gitu matching ya. Dan kalau kita merenungkan tentang paticca samuppada, ajaran tentang kesaling terkaitan, kesaling tergantungan ini menunjukkan bahwa proses penciptaan itu terjadi, dan prosesnya dapat kita juga renungkan di paticca samuppada. It's very deep teaching actually when you talk about the paticca samuppada. But I mean, if we go back to the traditional text, it talk about 12 links. But if you would like to expand further, like what you just mentioned, it's very interesting that basically it's I think we can tell that when people ask the law of creation in Buddhism, simply refer to the paticca samuppada. That's what you are saying, right?
Right. One time I was invited to be a guest speaker at a Catholic convention, and we had a Catholic convention. So that was fine. I think it's good for different religions to come to understanding and learn about each other. It was very nice. And so I got there, and they did not give me the questions in advance. So I sat down and I found out the whole question we were going to talk about was creation. And the introduction said, we all believe that the universe was created in one wonderful moment. Okay. And I had to raise my hand and say,
disagree.
Not really. And it was a little awkward. But once I explained this idea of creation in every moment, everything being interdependent, Indra's web is the way we talk about it, that every cause and condition of everything in the universe contributes to the arising of everything else in the universe. That interconnected moment of recreation, that's wonderful and vibrant and exciting. And so through that, I could communicate with my Catholic friends, and while it seemed strange to them, they could see what I was saying from their point of view. Okay. So
this is long enough to translate, but let me try to.
Yeah, sorry.
But anyway, I would like to comment first before I forgot. I call it, I once translated books, and they call it the web of Indra. If I'm not mistaken, a web of Indra. It's like the explanation is like this: like you are in one space, and it's full of diamond, and all the diamond is reflecting each other image. So basically, you cannot simply say which one is which one, because they're all interconnected. All the reflection of the diamond.
Right. Every gem reflects every other gem in the web.
So that's the Web Sutra. Okay, let me translate first for a brief one before our audience say, what are you two are talking about?
What are you talking about?
Jadi singkatnya gini teman-teman ya, ini kan panjang ya, jadi sorry saya ambil inti-intinya aja. Ketika bicara tentang recreation atau penciptaan, maka konsep di agama Buddha itu yang dapat kita jelaskan ke orang itu adalah tentang konsep paticca samuppada. Ya, bahwa segala sesuatu yang berkondisi ini kemudian menciptakan satu momen, satu kondisi yang sebenarnya semua saling berkaitan, ya, saling berkaitan. kemudian juga saya katakan, saya pernah translate satu buku, mudah-mudahan cepat terbit ini, di dalamnya itu tentang web jaring indera, di mana isinya tentang satu ruang yang di dalamnya itu ada permata yang kemudian saling memantulkan bayangan satu sama lain. Jadi kesaling terkaitan itu sangat erat. Nah, tadi di awal beliau cerita bahwa beliau pernah diundang datang ke satu konvensi Katolik tanpa beliau tahu ini mau bahas apa. Ternyata pembahasannya adalah tentang penciptaan. Ketika dikatakan di konvensi itu bahwa semua atau alam semesta ini diciptakan dalam satu momen, beliau menyatakan ketidaksetujuannya dan akhirnya beliau menjelaskan tentang konsep paticca samuppada. This is interesting. Like I never thought that we are going to able to explain recreation with the teaching of paticca samuppada.
The other way this is explained, the other word that gets used in Buddhism is emptiness. So emptiness is I think the Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh says, emptiness means we are empty of separateness. Yeah. Just like every gem in the web reflects every other gem, so we don't have anything that is just us, ourselves, by itself. That's not really real. We are really the interconnected moment of everything, and we're like an event. We are not a thing. We are an event and a confluence of causes and conditions. But we use, most times in Mahayana Buddhism, we use the word emptiness for this, shunyata.
Shunyata. I would like to use the word interbeing.
Right, interbeing. Mm-hmm.
He is very popular in America. I met him somewhere in Plum Village and also in Vietnam. We got a chance to invite him to come to Indonesia in 2011. And
very nice.
Very nice. I had a picture with him, but I don't know where it is. So, okay, let me translate. Jadi, ini juga nyambung ke konsep yang disebut sunyata atau kosong. Sebenarnya maksud kosong itu oleh Thich Nhat Hanh itu bukan kosong, tapi kita tidak terpisah ya dari kita tidak terpisah gitu. Intinya ini agak susah ngejelasinnya ke dalam bahasa Indonesia ya, translation. Kalau kita balik ke yang tadi konsep jaring indera tersebut, karena semua permata itu saling memantulkan bahwa sesungguhnya kita tidak terpisah dari satu sama lain. Jadi pengertian sunyatanya atau emptiness-nya adalah itu. Yes. Okay, reference. Can we continue? Because I think I'm very sorry to say this. This is very deep when you talk about sunyata, emptiness, paticca samuppada, and it's gonna blow my mind.
What would you like to talk about?
I think I have some questions from our friends here, and it probably is related with the culture gap between the Asian and America Okay, for example, they said that you learned that from RB's website and YouTube account that you often incorporate American pop culture into the chanting. For instance, guitar is often used during the joyful chanting session. So is it true? Sorry, I don't get a chance to see it.
Yes.
Music.
Right. So in Shin Buddhism, while some people follow shamatha meditation, peaceful abiding meditation, most people, Shin Buddhism in Japan is intended for regular people with regular lives and jobs and families and all the complexities of that. And so quiet meditation is often uncomfortable. If you have too many worries in your life, it's difficult. But chanting a simple Dharma phrase is accessible, and it calms you in a way and energizes you by you're embodying the Dharma as you chant. So, and this is true in all of the Buddhist world. You know, most Buddhists chant something, but not all Buddhists meditate. So probably more Buddhists chant than meditate as their practice. That's probably true. So that's what we pursue. That's what we follow. And so every week, sometimes twice a week, we will have a chanting practice. It's not that we're practicing how to chant, it is our Buddhist practice to chant.
Oke, jadi gini, di tradisi mereka itu tujuannya atau lebih banyak ditujukan kepada perumah tangga. Nah, yang kita tahu dalam kehidupan sehari-hari itu kita punya banyak peran, banyak kehidupan, dan banyak masalah. Dan jadi bagi mereka itu, kalau praktek meditasinya dalam keheningan itu mungkin tidak nyaman. Oleh sebab itulah mereka menggunakan cara-cara yang terampil. Chanting itu sendiri ketika dilakukan dengan baik ya, dikatakan akan menimbulkan satu energi, satu vibrasi yang bikin nyaman. Nah, sehingga itu yang mereka praktekkan, mereka lakukan. Jadi bisa seminggu 2 kali mereka mempraktekkan chanting itu. Dan di chanting itu juga dharma itu ada bagiannya di incorporate, artinya menjadi satu dengan dharma. Kalau kita juga tahu bahwa kalau chanting itu kan yang dilakukan adalah pelafalan ajaran-ajaran Buddha, sehingga dengan cara seperti itu juga mereka mempraktekkan. So, Reverend, for them it's fine. They find it calm, peaceful, and bring some positive energy when they do the chanting.
Right.
Yeah.
But incorporating the guitar, one of the members was learning how to play the guitar. He had not played the guitar very much, but he could find a few notes, and they fit with maybe our chant Namu Amida Butsu. That's the way we chant in Japanese. But he found a way to chant Namu 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 Amidabu. But he, with his guitar, it sounds very good. By myself, it does not sound good.
Ya, jadi ada anggota yang bisa main musik, main gitar, dan dia menemukan atau menciptakan nada yang seperti tadi dicontohkan, dan itu memudahkannya. You know, Reverend, the Plum Village tradition, they also do the chanting even in French. They chant the Heart Sutra in France, and you know that French, the language of France. Do you call it France or French? I think
French. Yeah.
So
French.
they chant in French, and it's so beautiful. You know, so when they chant the Heart Sutra in French, you know, French is one of the most sexiest language. Sexy, I mean, beautiful. You know, the art,
melodic, and yes, right.
Yes,
very
and
sweet.
They do it. And if you are in a retreat with, let's say, 1,000 people, and you hear the chant, everyone was quiet and enjoying the Namo Avalokitesvara. Wow, so beautiful. But it's not allowed in some tradition.
Right. That one tradition, I think when I was in Sri Lanka, they talked about a little bit that you have to be careful not to compete for a beautiful sound. Once you start to compete for a beautiful sound, then you've lost the value of the chant. And in the Pali tradition, chanting was used as a method before books even existed, as a method of reciting the sutras to preserve the Dharma. So chanting is very old and essential, but we should be careful. We shouldn't be proud of it or use it as an object of mind that we make identity around. That's a mistake. But if we follow what the Buddha wanted us to do, is watch our life, then as we're chanting, if we make a mistake and you think, I made a mistake, then you can see that that's just your ego trying to bubble into things.
Ya, jadi waktu beliau di Sri Lanka juga diajarkan kalau chanting itu nggak boleh jadi kompetisi. Lalu kita juga harus berhati-hati ketika melakukan ini, mempraktekkan ini. Misalnya ketika kita chanting dan kita ambil ada yang salah, maka ini sesungguhnya ego kita yang sedang bermain gitu.
And all you need to do is open to that wisdom and compassion, and then you can be in that Buddha field. So it doesn't matter if you're in a prison or not.